What is up, FGO fans? Hope you're doing well today. Hope your lottery has been a great one. So a lot of people have been asking lately about whether or not they should keep going on lottery. Should they save some apples? Should they set some aside, etc.? And it got me kind of thinking, what if we took a quick peek ahead at the Karna Christmas event, which is also a lottery? Maybe it'll help you kind of determine whether or not you should use some apples now, whether you should save them for later, whether you should set them aside for the Gouda raid event coming soon, which I'll have another video very soon about that. But this one is 5 things to know in advance of the Karna Christmas lottery. Here we go. So the first thing to know is that KarnaMas is way easier to 3-turn than ShishouFest has been. Now this is partially because of the enemy comps, but it's mostly because of the event CE. This is Cherry Icicle, tentatively named that. It could translate differently when we get to the event, but as you can see, it's quick up by 8%, NP damage up 15%, and a starting gauge at 50%. That's at MLB. Non-MLB, obviously those are reduced, but the important thing is it's a 30% battery at non-MLB. We have appends very early. If you have a servant that you are going to use in this event and you would like to 3-turn with them right from the start, it will be way easier if you focus on that second append early, get it up to level 10, start yourself off with that 50% battery. It opens a ton of doors. Even if they are not a quick servant, especially if they're not a quick servant, I would say, it's going to make a huge difference. So that's definitely something to plan for, something to look out for over the next few months. So the second thing to consider in advance of KarnaMas is that it only needs planning for 2 nodes and not 6. Now obviously there are some exceptions to this. If you're dumb like me, you're probably going to drop a couple of apples on a bronze node just because you need both of the materials it has. Yes, I know the drop rates are going to be terrible. I don't want to talk about it, okay? Anyway, other than those instances, it's obviously way easier to prep for 2 nodes instead of 6. But the convenience of this lottery compared to a previous one actually goes a little bit deeper than that. So here in the lottery box, you can see horseshoes, seeds, dust, and mystic spinal fluids. You also have an exchange ticket. We get those every Christmas lottery. And with the exchange ticket, you can exchange it for one of a Tearstone of Blood, a Leyline Spiritron, or bells. You can exchange 1 per box, so every box you open, you'll get one of those 3 things. Now the reason that matters is because of what's dropping from the nodes themselves. As you can see here in the 90 node, the heavyweight node, it's a nice 333. It's Lancers. You might be able to pull out Castoria and Jason. That'll be cool, right? However, it drops horseshoes. That's in every single lotto box. And the spiracles here, you can exchange with a ticket from each lotto box. Not to mention the fact that not a lot of servants actually need these spiracles anyway. That double-edged sword continues on into the super heavyweight, the 90 plus node as well. It drops 4 in God Hearts, which if you've been spamming ShishouFest, then you probably have a lot of them. It also drops Night Metals and the Spiritrons. We've already talked about the Spiritrons, but we'll talk about the Night Metals here very soon. All in all, you have a much less in-demand series of materials to plan for that are drops from these nodes. Another thing to know in advance of KarnaMas is that this could be Quick's Swan song. A lot of great Quick servants are going to get a bonus in this event. Santa Altera, Santa Nightingale, of course, are among them. But also, Kama, Parvati, Skadi, even Osakabe Hime will all bring in extra bond and attack power. Not to mention the fact that Santa Karna himself is a Quick servant. So if you're a fan of Quick like I am, this might be our one last hurrah to reminisce on the days when Quick was the dominant card meta. Number 4 on this list, speaking of the event servant himself, Santa Karna is a crit god. He also strips guts with his MP. Let's take a look at it.
行くぞこの連撃をもってすればノックアウトは必要スーリアの力よ我が拳に宿れウィニングアルカプトラ
Definitely a unique NP animation. I love it. I'm excited for him to come to our server. And when I call him a crit god, that's really no exaggeration, as we'll take a look at his kit here. On his first skill, he's got Buster up and Quick up 30%, 3 turns, 5 turn cooldown. He also has crit damage up 50%. That lasts 3 turns. That feeds in nicely to his second skill, which is a 2 attack over 3 turn evade. Star absorption up for 1 turn. It's only 500%. You're not looking at Saber lot levels here, but it's good enough. It'll skew the stars in your favor. And then the real crux of his kit, critical damage of quick cards up for 1 turn by 100%. That's got a 6 turn cooldown, and it does stack nicely with not only that first skill, but potential Skadi supports. So if you plan on doing some insane damage in this event, bringing along a double Skadi plus Karna comp is going to get you some really pleasing results. And then not to be forgotten is his NP, which strips away guts, that activates first. And then he deals damage standard scaling 1200 to 2000%, but he increases his quick performance for 1 turn, which also activates first, which means if you are going into an NP and then quick crit combo, you are looking at some insane damage potential from Santa Karna. The fifth and final thing on our list of things to note in advance of KarnaMas is that night metals are a dilemma. If you're anything like me, you saw one material and one material only jump out at you when looking at the 90 and 90 plus note earlier, and that's night metals. Night metals are in high demand over the next 2 years. There are some elite servants and some endearing fan favorites that need a lot of night metals for their skills and ascension. However, before you start stockpiling apples for this node, just keep in mind a couple of key details. One is that we get night metals in the ShishouFest special rerun next year. So early next summer, we get a second rerun of ShishouFest. At the time, on the JP server when it came out, it didn't make sense to us. We didn't really understand why we got it. The timing seemed weird. It seemed almost like desperate filler. And then 2 months after the fact, we completely understood when we were glad to have gotten that specific lottery with those specific materials. I'm not going to spoil anything, but needless to say, there are a lot of servants, some of which are very big fan favorites, who need a lot of night metals. So you may look to do a lot of your night metal farming at that time. When you combine that with the fact that the drop rate for night metals in the KarnaMas lottery is going to be 27.2%, while the best free quest node is 38.6%, you start to see that plus the hearts, plus the spiracles or spiritrons, make it so that farming the 90 plus node is not a super attractive option in a vacuum. And you have to keep in mind the fact that you're not penalized from a lottery ticket perspective for farming the 90 node as opposed to the 90 plus node. Remember, the 90 node has marginally higher drop rates for the lotto box ticket opening. It's not really much of a difference. It just means that you're not penalized for farming the 90 instead of the 90 plus, but it means that the 90 node might be the way to go for you. Except the 90 node is also not super ideal because of the fact that it has horseshoes, which are in the lottery boxes, and the spiracles, which we've already covered. So unless you're really hurting for mysterious divine wine, you really could go either way. Honestly, it's going to depend more on your own time, your own sanity, what you want to pursue, how many boxes you want to do. If you're looking to farm a lot just for the sake of farming a lot of boxes, the 90 node is probably going to be the one for you. So if you're looking to go past the triple digit mark, 90 node is probably going to be the one for you just because of the materials across both 90 and 90 plus. However, if you're looking to just do the event, get in, get out, clear the shop, 90 plus is probably going to be the best place for you to camp out. Either way, it's not a super ideal set of nodes if I'm being completely honest, purely from a drop perspective. But no matter which one you choose, try not to let night metals be the deciding factor, not only because of the low drop rate, but also because of ShishouFest next year. So that is the list. KarnaMas will probably be a far less demanding lottery for many players, myself included, both in terms of execution and material drops needed. Feel free to plan accordingly, even if that means planning not to plan at all. That's totally fine. This is a great event to just kind of kick back, clear the shop, take it on natural AP, maybe apple a time or two, depending on what's in a node. But the highlight, at least for me, is going to be Karna getting Santa Karna. Pretty cool servant, pretty cool NP as we saw. The materials are not going to be the highlight. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please do hit that sub button. Thank you so much for that. Take care of yourselves. Good luck on your rolls, and I will see you next time. Later, guys.